Hi everyone, welcome back to Tara Normal. My name is Tara. Today I have with me my friend Brandy again.
Hello.
We've heard a lot from her this month. So we had an interesting day last Friday, right? Today, as we're recording it, it's Tuesday, October 30th. I almost said December. It's not December. October 30th is today, so Halloween is tomorrow. I'll be posting this on Halloween. But this was so what would that have been?
The 26th.
The 26th. And we kind of had an interesting day and kind of interesting week. It was a weird kind of energy shift. I don't even know how to explain it. People at work, there's a lot going on. A lot of craziness.
A lot.
And Friday, it was kind of the pinnacle of it. And after work, we kind of decided to meet up and go to some of the Magna, hot spots, I don't know, that we kind of touched base on maybe the last podcast we did. So we went to the Witches store in Magna.
We Witches 3, it's called.
Yeah, We Witches 3. And I guess we'll start there. It worked out almost perfectly because Brandy got off before I did. And so she took off, went home, and then as soon as I got off, I just kind of on a whim decided to go over to your house. And we went to the Witches store, so.
It's like a perfect, it just fell into place.
Yeah, it fell into place.
It was meant to be. With the rest of the story we gotta tell, it just, everything landed so perfectly.
Yeah, so we went into this shop, which I was a little bit, not really apprehensive, but I have a weird thing with small shops. I don't know. I get a little claustrophobic, so I'm like, okay. It looked cute, but
I love small shops, so
some of them were okay. But we went in and we were greeted by a black cat, and we looked around for a little while. And I'm really, really into crystals, and they had a ton of different crystals. They had sage and just a bunch of different things.
My favorite crystal they had, it was a man body part, all shapes. It was about 3 inches tall, and it was a glass crystal.
It was pretty interesting. Yeah, she said it's had some special powers, and to let our minds kind of run wild with that one. But it was a pretty cool shop, and the lady that helped us and everything. I can't remember her name, but
sweet lady.
Yeah, she was super nice. Sat there and talked to us forever. She asked kind of what we were there for. I just told her that I really liked crystals, and we were kind of there under the pretense of what we heard about from the show, the Ghost Adventure show. Because that store was kind of involved.
Yeah, the bad witch they call her used to work there.
Yeah, so. Yeah. And we did end up talking to her about that. Brandy was actually the brave one and asked her.
Just blurted out. She was perfectly fine with it, so.
Yeah, she was really cool. So it was a really cool little shop and experience. And she took us into the back break room, I guess you would say, storage room. And first she was asking if I could feel the vibration of crystal. And I said, yeah, usually if I'm meditating with them and that sort of thing, I can feel its energy. It sounds crazy, but she's like, well, if you like regular crystals, you're going to love this. And took us into the back room, and she had this perfect, softball sized, or baseball maybe sized, labradorite crystal. And it had some wire copper,
like twisted around the ball,
twisted around it, and then it went into like a hole. It went into a hole in the ground, and she said the energy from the crystal mixed with the copper and the energy from below caused like a certain effect. And she didn't really tell us what to expect. And so she just like had us hold on to it and see what we experienced. And it was really, really cool. I don't even know how to explain it.
Well, I felt like a lightness, a cleansing, a calming type of fuzzy feeling. Mm-hmm. That's what I felt. But
it was just like really relaxing. And it's crazy to get that immediate reaction just from holding on to a crystal for a few minutes. It was like the craziest thing ever.
And stuff like that I'm not used to, so I was a little like,
Yeah. Brandy's like, I'm a non-believer. I don't know if I can start with this stuff. No, just kidding. But it was really cool. Like, because usually for other crystals to kind of work, you have to be like really open to it. And typically I'm like more feel its energy, like I said, with meditation and stuff. But this was like immediate. It was the craziest thing. So
interesting.
Yeah, that shop was really cool.
I've been in there a few times before, but I wanted to take you into it, so I knew what to expect.
Yeah.
And I was into like the paranormal or really understood it till, you know, everyone here at work started talking to it, just getting into it, and my experiences that you all heard.
Yeah.
It never seemed to stop. So.
Yeah.
Now I'm like getting into it.
Yeah. That's interesting. So, and then from there, I did want to mention, while we were there, and Brandy was asking about the Ghost Adventures episode that was based on the shop and the past employee and the pizza shop that's a little bit it's pretty close by, right?
It's a walk, like 30-second walk away.
Yeah. It's like across the street or something, isn't it? Like kitty corner. Mm-hmm. And Brandy was like, well, what's the deal with that? I can't remember exactly what you said. Do you remember?
I don't remember. Something just kind of like with the basement being haunted and a spell being put on them, and she agreed to that, but we did find out something interesting about the bloody quilt mattress that we found. Mm-hmm. Well, we didn't find it, but it was on the TV show.
That was on the show. Yeah. And she's like, that was jelly. That was red gel or Jell-O that they smeared on the mattress. Because she basically said that there was some truth, but there was a lot that was fabricated for TV purposes. And I always wondered that about this show.
Me too.
Because it's not one of my favorite shows. I don't even know how to explain it. But they do seem to be like very overreactive about random stuff. So, yeah, she said the red blood, or whatever, was very fabricated.
Yeah, it was smeared jelly.
And, and the owner of the pizza shop and stuff, she said that the show kind of made them out to be kind of enemies in a way. And she's like, I don't have any problem with them. I go eat there all the time. And she's like talking about how good the food is and stuff. So we were like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But I kind of wanted to put that in there to kind of bring that to light. But
she did say that they had a little spirit boy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I almost forgot.
He's very funny. He's very friendly, but I cannot remember the name.
Yeah. I came up with the name Oliver, and then you...
I was saying Robert, and then I wrote down Richard.
So, who knows what it is. I swear it was just like a kind of an old-timey, like generic name almost. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. So I don't know where I came up with Oliver, but maybe we should call him and ask. Be like, what's the ghost name? But
yep.
we called and asked what the crystal was, because I could not remember. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's this. And it was what I thought, but I couldn't remember exactly. But I'm like, we should have asked about the ghost too.
Labradorite crystal.
Oh, with the touching base on the ghosts again, of the little boy, very mischievous. And she told us a story about a lady that had come in and was just super annoying. And was like, I don't even know what she was doing. She didn't really say. But she just said that she was... room. Yeah, she was like really, really annoying and just like a needy customer. And she said that she all of a sudden like got really freaked out and basically just ran out of there. And I guess she came to her later and said that she saw a spirit materialize in the doorway. And she's like, there was nothing there. The owner or the lady that we were talking to basically said that she didn't see anything. There wasn't anything there. So, but I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. Like, Ghost was like, okay, you need to go, lady. Like, leave us alone. You're annoying. But anyway, so I think that was about it at the shop. Right?
You bought a couple crystals?
Yeah, I did buy a couple crystals. I got like a jade and I got just a clear quartz.
I want to get some sage when I get paid.
Yeah. They had like these big sage wands and stuff, but it was a really, really cool shop.
They have everything. They have books and cards and crystals and just everything.
Yeah, it was really cool. And they have these classes and stuff that she was telling us about, and it was just really cool. Anyway, we don't need to get into all that. It's not really here nor there. But after that, we went to the cemetery, the Magna Cemetery. What is it called?
Pleasant Green.
Pleasant Green. I always forget. So Pleasant Green Cemetery. And we got there and it was still light out because they do close the gates.
At 7.
So, yeah, at 7. So it's not like we could... Which I'm like, who's in charge of closing the gates? Who gets that job? But, so we kind of went there right as it was about sunset-ish. Or just before sunset, I guess. It was like just starting to get a little bit darker. And we were just kind of wandering around up and down the rows, just driving up and down. And it's a really cool cemetery. I know Brandy's kind of given me shown me videos and stuff of like what it looks like and everything, and it's very rustic. It's like
no grass.
It's kind of got
it's like
a lot of
scattered type of thing.
Yeah, it's basically people just kind of do their own thing, and we were pulling up a bunch of gravestones, and a lot of them were pretty old. There were a few that, when you first got pulled in off to the right side, that were 1800s, which, I mean, I guess that's not too old, but I mean, it was a pretty cool cemetery, and there was a bunch of weird gravestones with weird symbols and stuff that we found, and
which the spot we actually stopped and got out was interesting to what we actually found, in that spot. We could have just stopped anywhere. And I decided just to turn down that street.
Yeah.
But there's some that were Korea vets, World War I vets. But like Tara was saying, there was some that had 3 different symbols on them. So that was on one of them. That was interesting.
Yeah, that was kind of... I've never... I mean, I know what the symbols are, but I'd never really seen them on just someone's random gravestone. It was kind of cool.
Just to see all this new stuff. I mean, it could be on others, but...
Yeah. And then there were random blobs of cement almost. Like,
with nothing on them.
We were trying to figure out if they were headstones or if they were like broken pieces of something that was there. Yeah, and Brandy, she's looking at a picture now of, it's like this red concrete thing.
Very worn down.
Very old, worn down. And it looks almost to be like the shape of a miniature coffin.
Yeah.
Like, how big? Maybe like 2-3 feet? 2 feet?
At least.
And so, I mean, that's pretty decent size. And it's like in the shape of kind of a old, tiny...
I mean, I tapped on it. It was rock solid.
Coffin.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been a headstone that got busted off. I don't know. It's just the way it looks.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Randomly, I mean, it's raised up. Randomly just sitting in the middle of this one spot.
But that's kind of like the cool thing about the cemetery is it's like all these random little markings and things just everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's just really interesting to me. I don't even know how to really describe it. And then everyone gets to decorate the areas in a certain way. A lot of like the plots were like, look like almost family plots, and some of them were like fenced in. Yeah.
Yep, fenced in. They had chairs and tables and benches. Like a little outdoor garden.
Mm-hmm. A lot of them were like decorated for the holiday. Like, it was a really cool little cemetery. It's not anything that you normally see around. Usually it's like a groundskeeper that kind of keeps them up and won't allow for certain things. But yeah, it was really cool what people were doing and what they were allowed to do.
And it's cool to look over. You can see the whole city. Because you kind of got to go up the mountain just a little. It's not a lot, but kind of just wrap around and circle on the top.
Yeah, it's kind of like off on the mountainside. But
so as we were driving, I see this little old guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I look, and I'm just like, oh, hey, look. It's my George, which we talked previously. It's my shadow figure I've seen. I call him George. Yeah. This little guy, he had, like, it was weird. He had the same figure, same style hat on. It was like a human of my George. And
yeah, that's kind of funny.
We were stopping, looking out left side, my side, at some of the stones, and he looked over at me, smiled and waved, sweet little guy. And then we kept kind of watching him because we kind of felt uneasy. Yeah. It was weird.
It was like a weird, I don't even know how to explain it. Like there was one point where he was kind of walking in our direction. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I think we need to like move along here. Like, let's get back in the car. And then he'd like turn and like go in another direction. But yeah, it was kind of a weird, uneasy feeling, but at the same time not. Like, I don't know even why I would have that feeling, but
I know. But I mean, and then it's like I was watching him and he just like disappeared out of nowhere. I'm like, interesting. Yeah. Like nowhere to be found. And then sure enough, we're driving down the mountain. Oh, there he is walking.
Yeah. She's like, maybe he really is a spirit. Maybe that is my George. And we're like, there he is. We're driving down and she's like, oh, never mind.
Found him.
We found him.
He's just walking home.
Yeah.
I mean, sweet little guy.
It's like he's just taking his little walk home. But yeah, that was kind of a weird, interesting thing. But that's kind of where my experience with that night ended. I think.
I do remember they had a lot of. I mean, this could be anywhere, but just the fact that we've seen probably 4 or 5 infant ones where they were like a month old. Yeah. There was a lot of them close together. Yeah.
They were like, just in this little tiny area, there were a lot. But I think that was pretty common it was like 1800s. So I guess during that time, it's kind of little more to be expected. a lot of farmers, not much health care or anything. So I can totally understand, like, how there could be so many, but it was interesting, like, the area we stopped in.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a weird spot.
Just like everything that night just fell. Like it was just, that's what we had to do. But after the cemetery, even things got more interesting.
Yeah, we tried to get Brandy some gas because she was running a little low.
Which is down the street on Magna Main with everything else we went to.
So it was like super close by to everything. And she gets out at this pump. And after a little bit of debating on which gas station to go to, she goes to this one that's like a couple cents cheaper. It's like slightly cheaper.
4 cents cheaper.
And she gets out and tries to like do her card.
Well, it was asking for the zip code.
Yeah.
Which is 84. And then, like, I kept pushing the 4. It would not work. The number 4 would not work no matter how hard I pushed. So I pushed all the other buttons. Those worked. 4 didn't work. So I could not use my card. I had to cancel it. Drove 2 aisles over to the next pump. Same thing. Could not push that 4.
Yeah.
But all the other buttons worked.
Yeah.
What are the odds of that? I
mean,
it could be just coincidence, but it was just like an interesting night with that.
It was just really weird.
And then after that, I was done.
It was just random. Yeah. And she's like, oh, forget it. I'm not getting it. So... I was done. Yeah, we just drove back to her house. I went home, and then she kept, like, sending me videos of weird things that were happening at her house, which I know we've already talked about things that have happened at her house, but it doesn't seem to have stopped or gotten much better. Well, maybe it has. I mean, it hasn't been too crazy, but she sent me a video of this little skull that you have.
Plastic, not kind of plastic, but not glass skull. Plays the Halloween theme song.
Yeah.
My kids love it. But it was next to me on the couch, and I left the button. Like when you do the try me button, I left it, and I've had that thing for like 8 years. And I've just left it hooked to it. Well, it was sitting next to me on the couch to the left of me. And all of a sudden, I wrote down the times. The first time was 8:23. It went off. And it was just me. I wasn't even moving on the couch. Like, there was nothing to even set it off.
Yeah.
And then at 8:40, it does it again. That was just creepy.
Yeah. Yeah.
For just to randomly go off.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, like, if it would have been sitting on the button, it would have went off that time. But I wasn't moving, and I don't know.
Yeah. What's really interesting is that a few months ago, we would have had this conversation, and you would have been like, oh, it was probably just like a malfunction with the thing. It's super, whatever. It's nothing. But now you're like, it's the spirits. The ghosts are doing something. So I think that's so funny.
There's that.
And then you had something else that happened.
So my daughter, she got like freaked out about it. So we have this little storage box that you can see into the dining room down a little bit, and she went and put it in there and put the lid on it. You could kind of see the top of the skull because she had toys in it, so the lid wasn't completely shut. She goes, I feel like it's moving. I'm all, no! So...
That's so creepy.
So here's me and my daughter staring at this box, waiting for it to just go off and move. And then she lost a tooth that night. I just wanted to add that in there.
Yeah. It's just strange.
Well, then last night, I turned all the lights off, and in our bedroom downstairs, my son was behind me, and he was crawling up on his hands and feet. And as soon as we got to the one part, he kind of stopped, turned around, looked downstairs, kind of cried hard, and, like, took off up the other half of the stairs. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't do that!
That's really creepy.
That's recently happened.
The veil is thinning,
Yeah. Yeah, it's slowly going away.
Yeah. It's happening this time of year. Because even I feel like a weird shift in just everything. Like coming into work and just having weird things happen lately. And I truly feel like October does have like a weird sense to it, or I don't even know what to call it, but you're just a little more aware of like spirits and spooky things, and you just pay more attention to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it is, but even still, I don't know. Kind of weird. But
love it.
Yeah.
October's my favorite.
I do love October. I'm kind of sad that it's coming to an end, but
it's over tomorrow. Well,
Thursday will be done.
Oh my goodness.
Makes me a little sad, but yeah. So, anything else that we want to add, or anything that...
Apparently our spirit ghost at work was trying to torture me.
Yeah.
With mind tricks.
Mind tricks.
I don't know.
Yeah, I got here this morning. I got to work, and literally, it's dark outside.
I'm outside on the porch.
I pull in, and Brandy's, like, standing right on the porch, and she's, like... doing, like, all these weird hand signals, like, pointing to the inside and, like, freaking out. And so I, like, she comes running down to my car, and I roll down my window. I'm like, what is happening? And she's like, I'm not going in there. You need to come in there with me. If we're going in, I can't do this. And I'm like, what? What happened? She's like, just come in and I'll tell you. And I'm like, no, you're going to tell me now. So I'll decide if I want to come in or not.
It's so freaky. Like, I was here by myself for, like, a whole 10 minutes. And getting ready to do stuff. And, like, I hear these hooting noises, which I think we figured out what that was.
It was a laser that we used in the other room. But it was randomly just going off on its own.
Yeah, it sounded like a howl. Like, woo!
Yeah.
Like, that was freaky enough. But, like, when you put paper into a printer and you close it, that plasticky... slamming sound, like I kept hearing that, like constantly.
Yeah.
And it was so freaky. And then as I'm following you, I'm like, I am going outside because I can't do this anymore. And as I'm going outside, I get this fuzzy, hot feeling like, oh, something's in me.
Oh.
Like, I can't.
So I still haven't listened or watched that polo, by the way.
I stood outside for a good 5 minutes till somebody got here. Like, I am not going back in till somebody goes in with me.
I was just getting off the freeway when I heard the little dee or whatever it makes, but I'm like,
where are you?
My gosh.
Get here now.
Yeah, that's interesting, because it's a lot of, like, things that I'll hear randomly, which, great, I have to stay here late tonight, so.
Uh-oh.
Cursing myself, but...
And it's, like, really dark out. And
yeah, it's, like, raining and creepy.
Snowing just a few miles up the street.
Yeah. I love it. I love, like, dark rain, though.
It's perfect.
But, yes, I'm probably cursing myself tonight. But last night, I told you I kept hearing... I'd be in the back part of the office, and I'd hear, like, a man's voice or something, and I had music on, and I was like, is that part of the song? And I'm like, no, this song doesn't have, like, a man voice. And so I came up, and I was like, it almost sounded like somebody walked in and they were on the phone, like they were talking to someone. And so, like, I walked up, and there was nobody there. And I'm like, even said, hello, and nothing. So, I don't know what that was, but... very interesting, but I still had to finish what I was doing. And
yeah, you could hear actually one of the the slammings on the when I was doing the polo.
Yeah,
you heard it, and I'm like, "Did you hear that?"
Yeah,
like I'm not crazy. Yeah, like I heard that.
You feel like you're crazy though, almost.
Yes,
when you do this.
Like you feel like people are gonna be like, "You're just hearing things," or it's the house settling, or.
Because usually when I tell people that, like, who was it that said this morning? I can't remember, but they were like, oh, you're just thinking way too much into this. And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, it's a really weird stuff going on lately. So Must be in the air. It seems to be. I had a weird instance the other night, in the middle of the night, with like a mirror just slamming to the ground. And I talked to a friend that's like very into like symbolism and like kind of maybe psychic medium kind of stuff. And she's trying to give me an idea of what it means. She hasn't really told me yet, but the other night I was literally sleeping. It was the middle of the night, and I all of a sudden hear this huge, like, crash. I just sat straight up in bed, and my dog was sleeping right next to me, so he sat straight up in bed too, because that scared him. I looked over at my clock, and it said 3:55, which I keep seeing the number 55 everywhere. So I thought that was interesting. I flip on my light after I see what time it is to kind of see what had crashed. And I was like preparing myself for the worst. I thought it was like a shelf or something had fallen. It was such a loud sound. And my mirror, I have like this standing mirror.
Like a body mirror?
Yeah, like a full body mirror that's just propped up against the wall. It had completely crashed to the ground. And when I got up, like I kind of immediately got up to look and see the damage. Nothing had broken. The mirror was fully intact still. It was completely fine, which it fell on like hardwood floor, so you think it would have broke or something, had something happen to it. And nothing had happened. There was nothing to cause it to fall. It's been in the same position for like a year. So, I don't know. That was just a really weird. So I'm like, was that a ghost? Was that like the universe telling me something? Or what was that?
Hopefully a breaking of the mirror, like you always hear bad luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
I break a ton of mirrors.
Yeah, I was asking her about it, and she's like, well, it didn't break, so that's a good sign. And I'm like, oh, for the 7-year bad luck thing? And she's like, well, that and other things. She's sometimes vague when she talks to you about things. And I'm like, wait, what? But she was like saying something about me feeling trapped or something. And it's like an escape, or like I'm going to break free of that trapped feeling or something. But she told me earlier today, she's like, oh, I'll talk to you about it later. And then I never got a chance to talk to her. So, I don't know. Maybe that's a later podcast. But, all right. Well, I think that's about it for our stories as of right now. Hopefully we will get a chance to talk about some new creepy things that happen. I've got some other things planned in the month of November, so if you are listening, please continue to listen after the month of October. And it's not all going to be crazy creepy. It's going to be some interesting, thought-provoking subjects, I hope. And yeah, I hope you will stick around. But if you will please follow me on Instagram and Facebook, I'll give you all the updates of when shows go out and that sort of thing on there. And thank you to Brandy today for joining me yet again.
This is what, my 5th time?
We're not counting. Next time I'll be your 5th.
Okay.
So thank you guys so much. See you next time. Bye.
Bye. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.